what really matters. What matters to me after 16 years of marriage? What matters to me after 25 years of dating?
The clock struck 12 a.m. As I slid into another birthday, I laid there and I asked myself, what have I done with these years? What difference can I make? What would I say to the younger me? Come on this journey with me so that I can share my journey, others' journeys, hoping that you will get something out of it and that you'll be better for it. Learn from the mistakes and not make them again. Leave a legacy and serve where you can. Welcome to the Younger Me podcast.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Younger Me podcast. It's Roseann, your host, and I have with me this evening my partner in love, my husband, Dwight. Welcome again, babe. And we just want to continue our conversation around our relationship. But before we get started on that, I was thinking today about a friend of mine and a situation. And I shared a part of that earlier when I started this podcast. But she wanted to know what are the three things, and there are a lot of things, but she wanted to know what are the three things that makes my marriage work. And I think I couldn't give her three things, but depending on where you are in life and how long you've been married, those things may change in terms of priority and what's the first, second, third, fourth, and the number continues. And so at that time, I had to write it down because I had to think about what really matters. What matters to me after 16 years of marriage? What matters to me after 25 years of dating? What's important to me in terms of me meeting you, Dwight, in high school, and then there's college, and now that we are young adults, what really matters to me now? And depending on the season that we were in, I think that there were some things that really mattered the most. There were some things that we just didn't know. Some things were priority. And if I can remember, and I'll share more on what I told my girlfriend about where I am now. So back then, for me, you picking up the phone and calling me, and back then CDs and cassette was where the music industry was really at. You would play music, you would try to sing and express your love as teenagers and going into our younger years, our later teens, how you felt about me. I guess because you didn't have the rhymes then. You were still a little boy, and I was still a little girl.
I didn't need the rhymes, because in the first place, rhymes didn't get you attracted to me. So I don't think I needed the rhymes then.
But I loved the songs. Back in the days, it was the Tony Braxton song and the Babyface that you would play, and the Jaheim. They don't even make songs like that. They don't even sing songs like those anymore. But anyway, that's for another day. But back then, when we just started dating, it wasn't about sex. It was about really getting to your heart. And then, it happened.
What
happened?
What happened?
We had a relation right on the cusp of college. We're getting ready to migrate.
Yeah.
Finish high school.
It's 2001.
Yeah, we finished high school, and he was leaving me before I had left Jamaica. So it was kind of like sealing the love.
It's not even that because before I even migrated, I remember I told her
Oh yeah, I remember.
there's a couple pieces, if you may call it that way, that was
Important.
very important to me,
Yeah.
very vital to me. And one of those pieces was 1998 when I won the champion boy at Boys Champs for Class 3
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
scoring the most points
He was a runner, y'all, and he was
in
good.
1998. So that trophy I left with her.
You did leave it with me.
Yes, and I also left another trophy. It was two.
Yes, it was too.
One was another champion boy that I received for Sports Day.
Yeah.
So I left those two prize pieces, and I told her I'm coming back. So I'm
Yeah.
leaving you these two pieces because I'm coming back to get you and those two pieces.
He did leave those two pieces. If I were to remember, yeah, you're right. You left those two trophies as reminders to know that, yeah, I'm leaving, but I am coming back. We will be together. And I had that to hold on to. And then, God is so amazing that I migrated as well. And I'll share more of my personal journey and the opportunity there, and what that meant and did for me and has done for me and is still doing, and how I talk about destiny, or when something is predestined or predestined, that's God's plan, and nobody and nothing can change that. And we'll unpack that another time. But in talking to, again, because the conversation was with, following up on that conversation with my friend, I remember now it was college. We're in college, and I was in New Jersey, he was in New York, and it was new, different.
Yeah.
I lived on campus in Jersey, but our relationship, we were a bit distant because now the focus was on school, our education. And for me, without going too much into that, when you get a scholarship, you have to maintain your grades. If not, you're going to lose your scholarship. And my parents, my siblings, my family reminded me that the most important thing was to grab a hold of what was given to you, because if you've gone to college, it doesn't matter what level, the price point that it was then and even now. And then when you live on campus, to pay the cost for the education and the housing and everything else, it is expensive. And I remembered, I think that was a tough time in us dating, because I didn't get to see you as much, because I not only was doing school and doing like 19 credits a semester, I ran track full time. And so you're either running or you're doing school. And when you get the weekend, it's because you didn't have a track meet, or because you got the weekend off and you want to rest, you want to see a boyfriend, you want to see your family, you want to hang out with friends. So there were some parts of that journey that was so strict, but I'm so glad it was, because when I look back at the younger me, I'm so glad the decisions that I made then and what was poured into me from my parents and the integrity that I saw home, that I carried it over into the United States, because I was on my own. I was in college on my own. I had family here, but my sister and cousins and everyone, but I still had to make those grown decisions. I still had to do it all. And I'll share more on that. But I just want to tie that in to say that when at that time when we're dating and you were getting to know yourself, because was it going away to college or staying in New York and doing college locally? There was a time when you got a scholarship, but you was about to go away for college.
Yeah, the scholarship thing for me came a little bit later, and I think it's when after I think it's you're like what, a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sophomores in XX, and then we say, you know what, let's probably go to Texas. I had an opportunity to go to
Yeah.
Texas. She also had an opportunity to go to Texas, and we wavered on that a lot. Like, do we really want to go over to Texas and be
Go away from
more
our
serious about track? Because
Yeah.
it's at one point, like for me personally, I'm like, you know what, I'm done with track. After I think the injuries and the setbacks, and I think I'm gonna say some probably lack of support in certain areas.
Just being honest.
Yeah, I literally left San Diego when I finished my first year one. You know, so I had a lot left.
Yeah.
But circumstances causes me to leave a little bit early. Even though that here, it was a lot of setback because, like I said, because of the injuries that I receive, but things work itself out where we're still close, even though she was all the way across the bridge.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out if we want to go to Texas together, because when you're in New York and New Jersey, it's cold, so you don't really have. The training is different, basically, and we're deciding: do we want to do school here in the tri-state? Do we want to go away to a southern school or a warmer climate school and really take track serious? I think I had my moments when I took it serious, and then I had my moments when I was like, I want to be Dwight's girlfriend. I want to get married. Now, I didn't say I want to have kids, and there's so much to share on that, and you got to be so careful of the things that you say, because I feel like a lot of things that I said when I was younger, I regret them now that I'm older, and so I'm trying to be careful with the things that I say now. But at that time, I was literally in the coach's office, and I remember the opportunities were there to go away or stay locally. And, like I said in one of the episodes, I chose you then, and I choose you now, because I felt like if I had gone away, I don't think we would have stayed together, even though we've overcome so much in our younger years as teenagers and 19, 20, 21. But in college, but in that decision, I decided to stay in New Jersey, and I'm so glad I did, because it wasn't only about track, because it doesn't matter who you are and you run track, whether you're running on the highest level or you did it in high school or you did it in college, you're going to stop doing it. And if you don't have some level of skill, education, or something, you won't have anything, because you're not going to be running at 40. You're not going to be running at 50. You're not going to be running at 60. And even if you run and you don't invest and you don't put your money to good use, I believe you won't have a return when you're older. And so for me, education was priority. And I had the opportunity to go to a great school, and it was a full scholarship. Either way, it would have been across the board. But that was the blessing of God. And what God has for you, it is for you. And so we stayed locally. You decided to stay local, because remember, there was a time when you were going to go upstate New York.
Yes. That was even when I first when I first actually migrated here, and I coached some school in upstate. I don't remember what's the name of it. I think it's Alfred State. I don't remember. The coach was ready to book, even for me to come take a tour, and say yes, he's ready to come and take me. Blah blah blah. But I think being here and not knowing the ropes, I'm gonna say, how to maneuver the college stuff. My parents didn't even know it either. They wasn't sure what road to take, and I think that's when everything like went downhill.
I
Not
think your mom was kind of wanting
Yeah, she
to
didn't
hold
want.
you tight.
Yeah, she
She
want
didn't
yeah,
want
she
to let
didn't
go.
like.
He's an
Why you
only
gotta go
child.
upstate? Blah 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 blah.
You could get an
But
education locally.
yeah, it was a great
Yeah.
opportunity. Still, it wasn't one of the greatest school, but yeah, I almost went upstate.
Yeah, he almost went upstate, and we were dating, and I was like, I stayed in Jersey for you to go upstate. I was like, and I was just being honest because, you never know what can happen. They say, they have a saying, absence make the heart fonder, and all these other things that people say. Listen, I'm a girl, he's a guy. We were in college. We were getting ready for college. I was in college actually before Dwight was, because of the age difference as well.
Yeah, age difference is not that a big deal, young lady.
It's not a big deal, but
It's like less than a year. That's a couple months.
yeah, but I went into college before you because
Yeah.
of how the system here, when you migrated here, it's quite different, and because of that, for me, I didn't want to. It was a decision maker. If he was going upstate, I was going to Texas or Florida, and I was going to do track, and whatever happens from there, it happens from there. But you always had that answer to say we're going to be together. You've always said that, even though I at first knew that. When I started having doubts as we were coming through college and the distance and not being able to see you because school was priority, and I couldn't just get up and come to New York. You couldn't just get up and come to Jersey because of the timing. And all we had was phone calls, and I think we didn't even have much of a camera system where you could video like now,
Nah,
right?
they can't. They barely have colored screen phone even.
Yeah, so
They'd never
we
have it.
talked on the phone a lot, and there were times when we didn't talk because of the timing with school and track
Yeah.
and just being tired. Or for me, getting to know new friends and hanging out with friends, and him going to college and him being locally and getting to know new friends. So there were challenges there, but we persist, and there were times when we weren't communicating as much. But I remember one time when I came by your house, it was in the summertime and school is out, and you had packed up everything, we're going to the park for a picnic. And I was mad because I think at that time I was kind of like, yeah, I was done. I don't remember. Why was I mad at you?
I don't know.
I know I was
can't
mad
remember.
with you that day. And I came by your house. He was like, Rose, we're going to the park for have a picnic. And I'm like, what? But I'm glad we did that because it showed me a different side of you and your heart. And to this day, I'll never forget that moment because that was one of the breakers in our dating. Um, I'm glad you did that. I don't think I ever told you that until now. I'm telling you.
No, you always tell me that you appreciate it, you
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
And then we learned from there to start taking the days,
time,
the
yeah.
weekends when we would go to the movies. We would even just walk.
Yeah.
We would take the
go
bus
wherever.
and go wherever and just walk. We would go to the mall, and it wasn't that we had money because we're in school. We didn't have money unless our family gave us money. We didn't start working yet, but whatever our family members gave us, we knew how to
Yes.
conserve it and ask, and God multiplied it. We didn't go out there and do anything that I didn't go out there and do anything that I didn't think would it wasn't any I didn't go out there and do anything that would cause there to be an effect later on in my life that would cause an effect. And I also had to live at a certain level because of the parents that I have. And then as we were going through, and to tie back in my conversation and where I find myself, I think in college for me, it was the fear of, we're getting older, you're seeing girls, I'm seeing guys. And it's not like I didn't date anybody in college. We're still, I was still his girlfriend, right?
Yes,
and
of course.
You were still. So we were still together, but we didn't see each other. So I felt like for me then, what was important was for him to find the time to come and see me, but he couldn't, because it was just easier for me to come to see you and then go by my family in New York, because whenever I got a chance to get off campus, I would. But there was a time when from September until June, I really got the opportunity to come off campus because of the expectation, school, track. It was just a lot of things that I had going on then. And then for him to come by me in college, there was no way for him to sleep. So you couldn't come and stay.
That's not even an option either when we take it. Because if you come by my parents, you couldn't sleep anyway.
In his house. I remember, it's so funny you said that. I remember, fast forward, there was one time we went to something.
No, I think you came over one New Year's New Year's Eve. I think you went to church.
Yeah, I came over I was in New York already by my sister, came to church with him in Brooklyn, and it was late. And I was like, you know what, Dwight, I don't think I want to commute back. We didn't drive. Didn't want to commute back to the train, to the ferry. He would accompany me, but it doesn't make no sense to go on the ferry, then get off the ferry, catch the bus up to where my sister lived. And, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but all I remember was your dad telling you,
no, that's not happening.
That's not happening. And when I look back now and that we have a son, I get it, because for me and my house, our home, and us raising our son, it's not happening. So his dad was not having it. His mom was not having it. But his dad straight out told Dwight, it ain't going to happen. And I'm glad he did that.
And by the way, by saying that it's not going to happen, that doesn't mean she has to take the ferry back. What happened was...
Right, I didn't go... Yeah.
We sleep in two separate beds, of course.
I slept with your mom.
She slept with my mom, and I slept with my dad in one bed.
I was not staying in Dwight's room. Let's be clear. I was not going to stay in your room, but I could stay the night, but I was sleeping with his mom, and he was sleeping with his dad. Now, mind you, his mom and I, we're still getting to know each other, and I'm like, I'm going to sleep with your mother? What choice did I have? We slept together, and we slept in the same bed. Let me clarify that. And I think we have one of the best relationship now. So I don't know what God was doing then, but I know now that, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, all this, of course, is before we got married.
Yeah, before we got married. Yeah. We were dating, and that's what I'm talking about, what my friend who's getting married, who's about to get married, questions were around the relationship. And so in college, I wanted you to show me, give me more attention, because I was going through the identity thing. You were going through the identity thing. But I think for me, it was more identity because of my friends and college, and not doing anything bad, but just trying to experience campus life, being involved. I became an RA. So it's not like I was just in college doing track. There's so much I learned and grew as I experienced campus life. And then we got married, y'all. It was like my last year in college. No.
Yeah. Nah.
It was my second to last year in college.
Yeah, you got one more year after that.
I had another year. We got married in 2008.
I know when we got married.
I'm just trying to pull his leg.
Yeah.
We got married in 2008, and well, you gave me a promise ring.
Well, now you just blew it up, right? Because you didn't remember when we got married, right?
No, I remember.
Okay, we got married in 2006. You said 2008.
Well, no. We had 2 weddings. So our first official marriage date was actually in 2006. We got married in 2006, but then we got married again in 2008 because the first time we got married, it was small and intimate, but then we had to do it big and loud for our family home. And God, our parents and our family just rallied around us, and we were able to celebrate with them. So I didn't get the date wrong. It's just that there's too many dates. There are too many dates. So yeah, we got married in 2006. But prior to us getting married, you also gave me a promise ring.
Well, talk about promise ring. There's so many promises behind, not just ring. I think the first piece of jewelry I bought you actually.
Oh gosh, with so many pieces.
We're still in high school when I bought her that piece of jewelry.
Yeah, we're still in high school, and he was trying to show me that, girl, he would not say I love you. That's the funny thing about it. Dwight would not say I love you, but the things that he did and the way he showed up, it told me that you loved me. But I wanted to hear it more in high school than even in college, because in college I was trying to find me. And so he gave me so many pieces. And then there was the ring. There was the ring.
Yeah. I don't remember. When did I give you that ring?
It was in December. I think it was 2005 December. You gave it to me.
It wasn't before that?
I don't think it was before that. I can't remember when he gave me the ring.
I think it's before that, but...
You think so?
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember.
You probably...
I still have that ring.
Yeah, I think it's definitely before 2005.
Was it before 2005?
Definitely.
Maybe it was before 2005, but it was a promise ring because I was having doubts about our relationship and if I could trust him, because I wasn't seeing him, and we were an item. We were dating, and he said I was his girlfriend. He said I was his girlfriend. I said he was my boyfriend, but we didn't see each other. So every opportunity that he got, he would give me, and it's not expensive pieces because he wasn't working, but it meant so much that he would say, Rose, this is an expression of my of how I felt about you, because that I love you just took forever. I don't even know how I stayed, but it's all God. And then, so that was college for me. And then we got married.
Yeah.
It was a cold day, but it was a beautiful day. And we got married in 2006. And then I was still in school, actually. We didn't live together right away, actually. And I was okay with that because now I was his wifey. I had the ring. So, still in college and was a wife, trying to finish my education.
But let me say this. When we got married, it changes a lot of things. It changes my parents' outlook. Because now
it did.
Now she's my wife. So if she come back, she could sleep in my bed now.
But we respected their house.
Yeah, we still respected.
We respected,
the house, of course,
Mr. Williams and Mom house. We were respectful. But we were young when we got married, and his parents accepted me, gave us their blessing. My parents, well, my mom already was like, She loved that boy. And then my dad grew to love you, actually, and gave you um, his blessings. You know how my siblings feel about you, so that
It was easy.
It wasn't that easy.
The blessing comes
You had
easy.
to climb some hills.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, getting to the point where I ask for the blessing is not like, like, I don't know, like some people probably got to go through this whole interview stuff. What you going to do for my daughter? There's not that stuff. I call her dad, let him know I'm, planning on marrying your daughter in black. That would be great. He had no doubts.
He didn't have any doubts because I never even gave them a reason to have doubts, because it wasn't anything major. There was no drama, because relationship can have drama. And I didn't have that being your girlfriend. And along the journey, in spite of some of the challenges, you did show me that I was important to you as being your girlfriend and becoming your wife. And of course I said yes. We got married, and then we didn't live together. And I said
because you're still in school.
I was still in school. But then after I finished college, we moved in together. And let me tell you guys, God was so good that he had our home prepared for us. And I would be, it would be amiss of me not to say, for me and how God orchestrated that, it was a blessing. It is a blessing. It was a blessing, and it is a blessing because your parents supported us so much. And when I say they're going to allow you to make your own decision, me to make my own decision, and the same for you. And whether you fall or you rise up, they're there. Parents are there. But I never forget how your dad, especially, he just showed up and showed out. And I know, without a shadow of a doubt, those are the blessings that I got from God, but because of my parents. Because my parents lived intentionally. They poured out, they gave, and their children were our recipients of the seeds that they sowed, because they're growing, and I am a recipient of that. And so every time there is something in my life that I just see how God orchestrated, and there's so many that I'm older now, I understand now that I'm older. When I was younger and I saw mom doing this and mom doing that and dad doing this and dad doing that they were just setting things up. Yeah. They were just setting things up. And I'm lost for words, because when I think about 16 years ago and 15 and 14 years ago and how when we got married and where we were, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the good of my parents, I'm reaping the blessings. I am reaping the blessings, and I'm forever grateful. And we got married, and we didn't live together in the beginning because I had to finish school, and he understood that, but I would see him much more because now I was his wife. Didn't know what that was like, didn't know what to expect there. But being married the first year probably was the easiest year because we were not living together. And then when we started living together, I had to learn, and some of it was mimicking, what I learned from my mom and saw my mom doing with my father, which I'm glad, because she showed me, she taught me how to cook. And that happened in the latter years. And there were times I had to ask his mom out to cook something, or I had to call my mom and say, Mommy, how you make this, how you do that? Because I saw my mom ministering to my dad. And so for me, that's what I knew. And I tried my very best to do it. During the first couple of years in our marriage, all I wanted was some honey. What was important to me, yeah, because you didn't live together all this time before. You're married now, and it's like we couldn't get enough of each other.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if we had the 7-year jitter. I think because we are such friends first.
I mean, 7 years of marriage?
7 years. You know, they say you get over the 7-year mark and...
No, I think we didn't, because I think even, you know, while we get married, you were finished up with school, and
you were still in school.
I was still in school, because then I had to transfer from one school to the next because of what I wanted to major in. And the decision that we made, or I made, like, you know what, like I mentioned earlier, I said, forget about track and field. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to work. So working part-time, going to school full-time, and I'm still I know what I want to do for a fact in school. But at the same time, how to get it done was also a challenge. And then, like I said, I had to transfer from one school to the next because what I really want to do, the first school didn't have exactly what I wanted to do. So it's like I spent like 2 years there doing something that, what am I wasting my time for?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like a little setback for another like 2 years for me. So even when she finished, I was still going back to school.
And that was hard because, you know, you marry and I'm sorry to cut you, babe, and you continue. But you're married and you think that your husband is going to have it all together and he's going to be the provider and he's going to just have everything in place and it's going to be perfect. It's not. We had to get up and work every day. And I knew I loved Dwight, whether it was $1 or $10 or $100. If I believe that down through the years, if our marriage was built on money, sex, what else? I think those are the two major definers for marriages.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't
that would
say
break a marriage.
I probably wouldn't say sex. I would probably say more. I mean, with money also comes with also security, because she would have wanted more security.
And I come from humble beginnings, so and my parents taught me to satisfy. So I didn't need much. I wasn't high. I'm not high maintenance. Never was. Never will be. I'm comfortable wherever God placed me and wherever I find myself. In our marriage, money wasn't the most important thing. It is important, but it wasn't the most important thing. I said sex because sometimes you're going to want a lot of sex, and other times you ain't want to have sex after you've been married for a long time. Sometimes you're in love with him. Sometimes it's not that you're not in love with him. I just didn't like that thing that you did or say, or you made me feel, or this is how you made me feel. And so as a female, if the mood is not right, and I said sex because sometimes as a woman you just don't want to give it up. And they say men don't need a reason. They just need a place. They're like microwaves. Women need a reason. And that's why I say if it's based on money or sex, a lot of times marriages go in opposite direction. And there are many other things, but those are the two things that come to my front. I know I cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, you did cut me off. But just to continue, while going to college, she finished. I wouldn't say so much of it's a struggle, but it was also a difficult time for us in trying to find ourselves still. But I think what makes it also easier, we didn't care about what we have now because we had a plan of where we want to go, what we want to do later on, and what we want to accomplish later on. So we're pretty much satisfied with what we have at that time. We were contented with what we have that time, and I think it's primarily based on the fact that we talk about this on our last podcast that the family stood by us.
Yeah. They were a big support. Still is.
They
support.
didn't like, oh, he can't support you, or he has no way to put you up because he has living experience. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They support us even though, things weren't looking.
Yeah, we're still in
we're
school.
Still in school.
So we're young.
Yeah. And back then, while I was in school, I was just working a little part-time, just making minimum wage. And you're talking back then, minimum wage was like, what, $5.75, $7.50, $6.50,
yeah,
whatever it is. It's like, think about it compared to now, where people are trying to date, people are trying to get married, and then if you ain't making a certain dough, dude, bye.
Boy, bye. It's not even dude. Boy, bye.
It's like bye. But for us, it wasn't that. It wasn't like that.
And I want to say, I was raised in the church. I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I was baptized. Because I want to tie in something that you said here, babe. I want a little bit more on that. And so when I met Dwight, he was not saved. He was not in the church. He believed in Jesus Christ as his Lord. He believed that there's a God, and he sent his son to die on the cross, but he was not a Christian. He did not accept him as his Lord and Savior. And so we were dating. You would say we were unequally yoked. We got married. I was in the church, he was not. So, and just to go back, when I think about it, that was a challenge for us.
That's all you're taught. Well, I was in the church, but not in the church. if that, I go to church. Okay. Not every Sunday though.
You were a visitor.
I was like,
you were a sinner.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, I was in the church, but I wasn't in the church. I wasn't. There's no anxiety for me to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, and let me tell you, boy, in the first part of our marriage, I was going to church. I married him because I loved him. And I know we should not have gotten married in the sense that I was in the church and he was not. But you know what I said? God, you're going to save him one day. And I was praying. I had to let God do what he needed to do with Dwight. But before I got there, I remember when we got married, and now I'm good. I'm married, so I'm not fornicating anymore. That was my biggest issue when it came to me. Because I know if I died during that time, I was going to hell. And that's my belief. That doesn't have to be yours. Because I know that I was doing what the Bible told me and teaches me not to do, not being married. And that's what my teaching as a little girl, growing up in the church. And so now I'm married. In my head, I was like, he ain't got to be saved because I'm saved. And so I'm getting it in. So it's all good. But then he wasn't coming with me on a Sunday to church. He was not coming unless he felt like it. Maybe Christmas, New Year's, those traditional time when unsaved come to church. He was one of those non-Christian back in the day. And that was probably what caused me to have a prayer life. That was the tipping point. Because now I was going to church and he was going with his brother out to party. Because he loved music. Still do. But you would be going with your brother out. And it started to bother me because as a woman, I was always that fear when you go out to hang out with your brother, play music, because they played music. They had music box, back in the day, they had them big, heavy box and all that, which was annoying.
Sound system.
A sound system. Not like now where the technology has improved, where you have these small speakers, but they're loud. But back then they had, if you went to any kind of vibe event, you see these big, ugly boxes. His brother and him, they were in that kind of environment and partying and baby showers and da-da-da. And he would come home late in the night or in the morning, and I had church on the Sunday because he would mostly do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I started like, man, I wonder if he's out there with somebody else. So those were the fears that I had. And I remember when I started visiting the church that we belong to now, the Church of God of East New York, and because I moved from Jersey, gave up my membership in my church home in Jersey, and now starting to visit the Church of God of East New York because I wasn't received in then, and I joined. They call it Life Care. It was called Life Care at the time, I think, or our cell group.
I think
it was cell group, right?
You're moving a little bit too fast.
I'm going fast.
Yeah, because while I was doing my thing, as we call it, DJ, disc jockey, play music, going on the weekend. I think the turning point in our marriage, I remember we were going to a party.
Oh, yeah.
We were going somewhere. We were driving to try to find this party.
One of our high school mates.
Yeah, and we could not find it. And we turned back.
Yeah.
And we went home. And I think after a while...
It wasn't a party. It was a barbecue.
Yeah, it was a barbecue.
It wasn't a party.
And I think after a while, it was like a light bulb for me went off. Because
But I wasn't going... Where I was going was what Brother Beckford told me.
Okay.
Because, and yes, we got there. But before that happened, if you remember, I joined Life Cell. And I would share with Sister Arlene and Brother Beckford, their husband and wife, the Beckfords. And in the life care, they would ask, what do you want us to pray for? What do you want us to pray for? And it was like, I want to pray for my unsaved husband. I want to pray for my unsaved husband. Because I didn't know... I knew about prayer because my mom prayed and taught us how to pray. We were raised in a church. But the power of prayer, I didn't have that and understanding fully of that. And, when you live and go through life, you get there. But as a young woman, no. I would pray and I would say the Our Father prayer, the Lord is my shepherd. I would pray scriptures. My mom always tell me, pray scriptures, pray scriptures. If you don't know what to pray, pray the scriptures. And so I relied on the scriptures to pray and hide the word in your heart. Because if you don't know the word and if you don't have the word to read in front of you, at least you have it in you to say it and remind yourself and speak life over yourself. Because sometimes you don't have the opportunity to pull up the word on your phone. But back then it wasn't on your phone. It was books. And so I remember talking to Brother Beckford about you and your salvation, wanting you to be saved. And I would jump on the bed in the mornings for him to get up and make it a hard Sunday before I go to church and give him a hard time because I'm like, God, you better save him, save him, save him, save him, save him. And I remember Brother Beckford said, just pray. Don't beat him down. Don't talk bad about him. Just pray. Be quiet and just pray. Every time I would complain to him, I would complain to them as couple. He would encourage me, Roseann, pray. Don't beat him down. Let him see you on your knees praying. When the Holy Spirit tells you to get up in the morning, in the 12 a.m., in the 1 a.m., in the 2 and the 3 a.m., get on your knees and pray. And I'm telling you, I prayed. I prayed. And I prayed for years, because it's not like right after we got married, you got saved. But I developed I was persistent in prayer. I was consistent in prayer because I knew what I wanted. I wanted a breakthrough. I was praying for a shift. I praying that God would save my husband, because if God did not save him, I don't know, maybe we would have not been together. Maybe we would have still been. But I did not want to feel unequally yoked, because I was in the church and he was not in the streets, but he would go to parties with his brothers, and I didn't know what was happening there. And it caused there to be some fear in me, because, you know, when you're in the world, you do what the world does. Don't want to know what happened then, but there were fear in me about that time in our marriage. And then we got invited to our classmates' barbecue that night.
Yeah.
And that's where the shift happened. So you could pick up from there.
Yeah, that's where the shift. Because I knew that it wasn't right. Because I grew up in the church, even though at one point I just stopped going to church. I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
I know where my heart was, but I was in denial about it, because you in the moment. You go to a party, you literally just in the moment at the party. But at the end of the day, when you go back to your reality, you're like, okay, you know. So I told myself, like, you know, this is not right. I'm going west, she's going east, and for our marriage to work, we have to go in the same direction.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where that turning point came. And then I started to go to church more consistently on Sunday. And just to fast forward, was 2004. Not 2004. Yeah, it is in 2004
September.
when I decided that, you know what, this is it. Gave my heart to the Lord. And then September 4th, right? September 4th. September 4th, 2004, that's when I got baptized.
He did it, y'all.
So, yeah. And then still nothing said our relationship is going to be perfect then. Because at that time, while you first got baptized, you feel untouchable. You know, and that's what it does. When you first got, you're gonna feel that way, because it should be a new you, or you should feel a new you. But then the crazy thing about it is, and not so crazy thing about it, but the reality is, when you take that leap, you find things seems like, or you think it's gonna be a little bit easier, but it becomes much harder. And what I mean by that, for anybody who's listening to this, it becomes more harder because then the devil doesn't like it that there goes another soldier in his camp, you know. But I think it helps. Nothing. It does. It helps our marriage to take a different step, you know. If that's the word, it helps us a lot, because every time, if we do go through our struggle back then, we can always fall back and who is the third wheel in our marriage. It's not our parents. It's not our brother, not our sister, not our nieces.
No.
No, our third wheel in our third string in our was always Christ.
Always Christ.
You know?
Even before you got saved, he was always in our marriage, because I made it a priority to, after learning the importance of covering my husband and speaking life and speaking, letting him know that he's important and that he has so much to give and God has a call in his life, and just pouring into him and making a deposit so that that deposit I can make a withdrawal from. Others can make a withdrawal from. Our son can make a withdrawal from, because the Dwight then versus the Dwight now, it's a whole different person. And that also comes from our learning. And so where am I going with this? What are the three things that is helping us to have a healthy marriage now? For me, I feel like we've learned how to better communicate, and communicating, and also you being my friend and my husband, my confidant, and the person I can say, I didn't like that, or I like this, or this make me feel this way, that made me feel. I could cry, I could be myself with. What I love about our communication is, as Dwight has grown in this marriage, I've grown too, but one of the things that you've done in the past couple of years, you had a plan. Because there was a time when my parents got sick, I felt like I hit a wall. And I'm telling you, I'm going to share on that, because the Roseann now would tell the Roseann then it was going to be okay. And I would like to talk to the you now to let you know that when life happens to you, it's going to be okay. So we'll unpack that another day. But when I think about the wall that I hit a wall that was so hard in 2019 in so many different ways. I thought I was going to die. Literally. And God. Nobody else but God could have helped me through it. Nobody else got me through it. Nobody else is helping me today with it. Only God. Not my husband, not his mom, not my sister, not my brothers, no close friend, relative, nobody. No girlfriends, nobody can help me. They support me, but only God got me through. He's getting me through the process of that. The traumas that I went through. That's the word. The traumas that I went through. And even with trauma, I love the way you communicate and the plan that you have for us. And that you saw how, Rose, in spite of how you feel now, we're going to get through this and we're going to be better for it. And I think, when I think now about your childhood growing up and how hard it was, it causes you to have layers that I don't have. That you've communicated and taught me to develop because of your upbringing versus my upbringing, because there were two different upbringings.
Yeah.
Your upbringing was, it was tough.
That's.
It was good.
It's good, and
but
tough.
It was tough.
But it's so much to talk about. Not going to dive into it now. because it's a deep conversation.
Yeah.
It says the good, the bad, part of life, part of growing up.
But it made you communicate with me.
Yeah, I learned. Yeah, I learned a lot from that.
Yeah. And so number one, I would say communication. And then number two, for me, I believe that we allow ourselves to grow. Give room for growth. Room for mistakes, learning from it, and growing. We're still growing. We're still learning. We're not experts. We're just more experienced in some things than other things, because we don't know what it's like for, the person who's been married for 20 years. We don't know what it's like for the person who's been married for 30 years and 40 and 50 years. I don't know what it's like to be a wife for tomorrow, but I can talk about today. And so there's room for growth. I like also the fact that I feel like you allow me to have my own space.
I do?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes him and our son can be all up in my face, but then there are the times when I need space to breathe. And yeah, I think you give me space. And I think space is needed because I am still Roseann, my own woman identity. Even though I'm his wife, I still have to make sure that I am good before I can be a good wife and mom and everything else in between. Those are the three things that pops into my head.
Yeah. Those are the key things.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, communication is the word communication, but anybody can communicate, but it's how do you communicate?
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference in many relationships. And I think alongside communication there comes sacrifice as well, that sometimes you just got to give up your rights for
he has to
the
give
better
up his rights because he's always wrong.
For the better of the relationship. And I mean giving up your rights, I don't mean just take whatever.
Wait, I said you have to give up your rights because you're always wrong. No, I said that wrong. Yeah. I said you're always wrong and I'm always right.
I mean, if you want to put it that way, but even though sometimes we're like, I'm right, but I'm like, you know what? Right. You know what? It's fine. And after you deflate the situation, then I say, look, blah, 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 blah. Then I would say, you're kind of wrong, but you know what? We still got to keep the engine going. So we fix it. We kind of deflate the situation to fix the not so much of a problem, but to fix any conflict. Because you can't fix the conflict while you are not high. You're bubbling.
I'm bubbling.
Because sometimes you say, the wrong things may comes out. Something you're going to say something that you didn't really mean. But guess what? It's already said. And you can't take it back once you say it. So communication and how you communicate is very key. To help relationship continue to grow and be better.
I you know what just came to me? It's not only communication, because we communicate, but I find that over the years, and when we would probably bump heads more when we were younger. But, I would say I'm the fire and he's the water. And his Dwight personality is one, you're like, always like just this way. And if I'm like, pumping, moving, he's like, calm down, calm. So I've become calmer. I've learned how to express how I feel. Because I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to tell Dwight how I feel, how he made me feel about this or that. I am not the type of person, I may not say it immediately, but you better be know I am going to tell you, because I'm not going to pretend. If something is wrong, I'm going to say it's wrong. I don't like giving up my right for him because he's my husband. I should be able to be comfortable in any way, in every way. And for you to understand that we're on the same team. I am not against you. I am for you. And it's this vice versa. But his delivery method is different from mine. And that's okay. I cannot change him. I don't want to change him. He can read a room different from how I would read the room. And he can speak to me without opening his mouth. And that's okay. Because I want Dwight to be himself. And I'm sure you don't want me to change, because if we were to try to change each other and you want to make me you, and I want to make you me, then it's not going to work. And that's one of the dynamic that we have that I find that it's really good. But then the thing that I think now that we're getting older in our marriage and we're shifting in where we find ourselves is the support of other couples.
Yeah.
Mature saints, even mature people, whether they're married or not married, whether they're saved or unsaved, and they have sound mind. I think we've learned so much after the pandemic.
Yeah, with the
in the past 4 years.
Yeah,
3 years.
I think it also comes with our maturity as well, and a lot of those support comes from our church family as well,
and outside the church.
Outside the church, our church family. I think it also stemmed from how we grew up, because for me, growing up, I always hang around the older brothers. And that taught me a lot, and I did that for a reason. Hang around the older brothers for a reason. Of course, it ties into my upbringing, which certainly we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, the support was really good from the different older couples that we engage with.
Yeah, we have been getting the truth and nothing but the truth from people who've been married 20 plus years. And how do you do it? And here's the thing. Sometimes we watch these medias and we see these, whether they're celebrities or not, and we like what we see. But sometimes it's not real. Most of the time, you buy into something and you want something that someone else have.
It's not for
but
you.
Behind closed door, some of them probably don't even sleep in the same bed. You have to touch and feel the person that is influencing or mentoring you. We go on these platforms sometime and we want to follow the name makers, but you don't really know those name makers. You only know what they show you. I remember watching an interview on a podcast of this guy who would go on there and just have the right things to say. I can't remember the name of the guy. His wife exposed him, and she told her side of the story, basically. And he had so many followers and people trying to make their husband, their wife, the girlfriend, the boyfriend into that person that he was describing, and he was a fake. It's like when you go to Chinatown and you buy those fake pocketbooks, slippers, or whatever. When you buy gold plated, that's going to change to silver. I'm just saying, touch and feel what you're buying into. Because some people just know how to come on the platforms or be a speaker and know what to say. But behind closed door, they are not living their true life. So be careful, because whatever you take in is what you're going to produce. And if you're a parent or a guardian, I would tell you even more to be very careful, because you have young ones that are watching you, and whatever you sow is what you're going to reap. I know I took a detour there because I find that a lot of time, and it's edited, it's filtered, it's you don't see the hard time, but you live longer, life happens until you die. And buy into the real thing. Don't just buy into the things that look good or because the person has the name, because it could be fake. And I'm learning that, because when I was younger, I wanted to be like that person. I wanted to do like that person. And then when they get exposed, you get so disappointed. I was a fan of Marion Jones. Always admiring, always said I wanted to be like Merlin Ottey. And this going back to track and field. She's an icon in Jamaica. And I always wanted to be like her. But then when I migrated and I started learning about the American track and field more and being exposed to different, and I met Marion Jones at the University of Virginia. We had a track meet there. And this was a lady that I admired so much. But then I'm saying, when I saw the backlash from the drug charges that was there, I felt so deceived. I told myself, I'm not going to buy into anything that I can't touch and feel. And that's why we have mentors, we have married couples, we have single people, we have single men and women, young and old, married or not, that speak into our life, that we see them living authentically, transparently. They're not doing it for the likes. They're not even doing it for the love. They're doing it because they're passing on what they've experienced, the mistakes they've made, to us, so that we can avoid some of those things. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have your highs and your lows. But why buy something fake? Why tap into something that's filtered when you could get the real thing?
Yep, that's it.
That's it. So, communicate.
Communicate? What's the three things? I actually forgot our three things.
I didn't forget it. I thought you was gonna like say what you wanted to say about it, but communicate is very, very important. Space to grow.
Yeah.
Is very, very important. And I'm going to tie in the mentorship of real people. Is very important in your marriage to grow. And also having your own space to get their own breathe.
That moment.
It's very important for you to be effective in whatever God has planned for you. Guys, thank you for listening and allowing us to come into wherever you view this podcast. Hit the notification button the next time something gets dropped. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone if something reached you this evening. Also, write your comments, share your feedback. We want to hear from you. And you want to say a prayer?
Yeah, we should.
We should say a prayer, right?
Yeah.
You want the prayer? I should pray.
I'll pray. So, Father, we thank you for this time. Thank you for this time that we have together, dear God. God, we pray that, dear God, that as we shared, or we continue to share, dear God, God, we pray that someone will hear this, dear God, and that someone will find it, dear God, to help their marriage or to help their relationship or to help them just in general, dear God, just as they go through life journeys, dear God. God, we pray that, dear God, that we will touch somebody, dear God. We pray that, dear God, that at the sound of our very voice, dear God, that you will continue to speak through us, dear God, to reach somebody else, dear God. So have your way as we continue, dear God, to pour what you have given to us out to somebody else, dear God. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Thank you for watching the Younger Me podcast, guys. Again, hit the notification button, like and subscribe, and share this video with someone else. And we want to hear from you. God bless you.